All right, so hello everyone. My name is Yuma Soerianto. And first of all, good evening everyone, and especially the people who are watching the live stream. So good morning or good afternoon, depending on wherever you are. And also it's great to be speaking here today. And so some of you may be asking me, why is this kid speaking now? Like, have the coordinators run out of speakers and they've started using children for teaching adults? Well, I have no idea, but oh well. It also turns out I'm an iOS app developer, and I'm a WWDC scholarship winner from 2017 to 2019. And I've also made 9 apps on the App Store, so you can see my apps over here, and also one of my games called Let's Stack AR won Game of the Day on the App Store. And also, thank you. And you may have also seen me on the App Store too. Anyways, I'm 12 years old, and I get this asked a lot, but there we go, I'm 12 years old. As you see, I've also been quite interested in augmented reality. And I also have a tutorial channel on YouTube called Anyone Can Code. And I also share my experiences with making iOS apps, and I also teach people, children and adults, how to make iOS apps using Xcode. Anyways, let's talk about augmented reality. So first off, Apple has made a few technologies. So as you may know, there's ARKit, which is really new. Oh, no, not really new. It's 2 years old. And then after that, there's RealityKit and there's Reality Composer. And RealityKit is built on top of ARKit, and they've added some new features while also making it simpler to make AR experiences. And Reality Composer is an app which helps you create AR experiences visually. Anyways, let's do a demo. So I'm going to show you guys around Reality Composer and RealityKit. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a professional, so my code may not be as efficient or clean, but at least it works. Anyways, we're going to make a simple Animoji using face tracking. And let's start by opening Scratch. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to use Scratch. It's a good program, but I'm not really an expert. And anyways, we're here for Xcode, so let me just open up Xcode. So let me exit, and all right, so here we go. I have Xcode open, and I am gonna just create a new Xcode project. And I believe you guys have had experience with you've had some experience with Xcode, so I'm not gonna tell you all the details about Xcode, and I'm not gonna talk about Reality Composer, or I'm not gonna talk about the details of Reality Composer since we don't have too much time. But anyways, after this event, I'll also be uploading a tutorial video on how to make RealityKit apps on my YouTube channel. Anyways, so I'm choosing the augmented reality app template under iOS, and I'm just going to name this app Duck Animoji. And also down here, you can see that there's this drop down here, which is named Content Technology. So RealityKit is a new option, so I've already got that selected, and I'm just going to click Next. And then after that, I'm just going to hit Create. And there we go. So our app is open, and I'm just going to go straight to experience.rc project. So experience.rc project is a file for making Reality Composer experiences. And I'm going to open this in Reality Composer. as you can't edit these Reality Composer projects in Xcode. Anyways, we have Reality Composer open, and I'm just going to show you how to navigate Reality Composer. So if you just click and drag, you can look around. Using 2 fingers and dragging, you can just pan around and you can just pinch to zoom. Anyways, over here is an inspector, and here you can change the anchor type. So you have horizontal, vertical, but I'm just going to leave this on horizontal for now. And down here is a physics. And you can see that there's this material here, and this changes the material of a ground. And basically, the material is like, let's say you want to make the ground feel like ice. So then if you moved an object which was on the ground, then it will just start sliding everywhere. And down here, you can change the gravity. I could probably lower this if I wanted to, or add some more gravity. I'll just change it to here. And if I select on the cube, you can see that more things will appear. So you can see that there's 3 arrows. Just use them to drag the cube around on its axis. And I'm just gonna lift this up. Also a ring, which changes depending on where you're looking, it depends on which angle you're looking at the cube from. So here, if you just click on and on the cube and on the ring, and you just spin around, you can just rotate the cube. And if you click and drag on the ring, and you just move your cursor towards or away from the cube, then you can scale it. And here you can just do some fine tuning. Here you can change the material. So let's say you want to make this look like gold. So now it looks like gold. And of course here you can fine tune the height and width of the cube, and you can even change the bevel radius, just like this. And then down here is the physics, and this is the fun part. And so if I click participates, that means it's going to collide with other objects. And in motion type, I can make this fixed or dynamic. So dynamic means that it will be affected by gravity. And down here, you can of course change the material of the physics body, and this is the collision shape. And yeah, you can change the collision shape too. But if I go up here and press the play button, then the cube will fall. Anyways, over here, you can here are all the scenes, and I can rename the scene, and renaming the scene is very useful if you want to go ahead and load the scene from Xcode. If you have multiple scenes, then you load them by its name. And what else is there? So, up here you can add in some objects. And if I scroll down here, you can see that there's a bunch of objects made by Apple, and these are all USDZ files. So if I scroll down and just drag this into the scene, then I can, you can see that there's a new object, which is a rocket. And you can, of course, import your own USDZ files. So if I click on the head.usdc file, then of course you have this duck head, and I can drag this too. Anyways, that's all I have to explain, or that's all I have to say for Reality Composer. And I'm just going to quit Reality Composer for now, and I'm just going to move this aside. And over here, you can see that I've already gone ahead and worked on a duck, which I made in Reality Composer. And, oops, I think Xcode crashed. Let me just open this back up. And let me try again. There we go. So I've dragged in the RC project, and I'm gonna delete this experience file. So I'm gonna move this to trash, and there we go. So if I open this in Reality Composer, then you can see that I have this duck here, and of course the duck head and both beaks are different objects. As well, if when we do the Animoji, I'm going to make it so the beak will rotate. So if I open my mouth, then the duck's mouth will open, or duck's beak. Did it quick? Oh no, it's still here. Okay, never mind. So as you can see, I can drag this, and these are separate. And one really cool thing about Reality Composer is, of course, you can open up Reality Composer on your iPhone, and so if I open Reality Composer, and if I click Edit on iOS, this button here, then you can see that my phone appears, and if I press on this and accept on my phone, here we go. You can see that we have a scene here, and of course I can edit all these objects. But there's this button here, which is AR, which is called AR, and basically it's an AR preview. So you can see that the duck is on my head, or I have turned into a duck, or a cross between a duck and a human, and I, of course, drag these around. So you can edit these objects in AR if you don't think something should be there, or it should be in a different location. And anyways, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to just leave this open. And note that this is called Animoji. So if I go to View Controller, you can see that I should have this error here, and that's because it's trying to get from a different file, which we already deleted. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to delete this constant, and I'm just going to replace this with, I'm just going to add in a variable called duck anchor, and this is going to be duck of type duck experience dot animoji. And so as you can see here, this is actually the type is actually the scene that we made. So as you can see, the name is called Animoji, and Animoji is in here, and duck experience of file is also here. So when we set the variable duck anchor, we actually have to do a do catch statement. So I'm gonna here I'm just gonna print error if something happens, which isn't meant to happen. Hopefully not. But anyways, I'm just going to set duck anchor to duck experience dot load Animoji. So this means that we're just going to load the Animoji scene. And I'm going to add in the duck anchor. And there it goes. So we've added this duck anchor into the AR view. And actually, you might be wondering, oh, why is this called duck anchor? Well, imagine the duck anchor is a face anchor, because this anchor type is face. And anchor contains all of our objects. So you could think of the scene as an anchor. And anyways, I'm just going to change this function to view will appear, just because I want to add in a face configuration, because I want to use the phone's true depth camera. So that means that I'm going to have to set the configuration, and actually it's going to be an ARKit configuration, because like I said before, RealityKit is built on top of ARKit. So if I import ARKit, and let me just change this to view will appear, and I'm going to pass an animated, then I will create a constant called configuration or config, and I'm going to call this I'm going to make this an AR face tracking configuration. After that, I'm going to do AR view dot session dot run configuration, but I'm only going to pass in the config. So as you can see here, this code is actually kind of similar. Yeah.
Bump up the font size. If you bump up the font size.
The file size?
Yeah. Command Shift plus. If you do that, you're gonna get bigger fonts.
Oh, all right.
A bit more. There you go.
Okay. Good. So I'm going to change. Yeah. So this config here is setting the configuration and running the configuration is actually quite similar to doing it in ARKit. And after that, I'm just going to do arview.session.delegate equals self. And this is going to be an AR session delegate. And after that, I'm just going to add some more variables. So I'm going to create a variable called allows quacking, and that's going to equal true. And basically what we're going to do is if a duck, or if my mouth opens, or if anyone's mouth opens that's in the camera's view, then basically the duck's going to quack. And also the duck will also match its beak's rotation to the mouth. And actually, speaking of quacking, I'm going to go back into Reality Composer and open up behaviors. And it's this button here, by the way. And here you can see that there's a list of behaviors here, but there's no behaviors. So I'm going to click plus. And behaviors are pretty much actions that are caused by a trigger. So I have scrolled down and selected a custom trigger, or custom behavior. So you can see that there's a trigger and action sequence. So action sequence is what we want to do. Trigger is when we want to do it. So if you click on trigger, or the box here, then we can scroll down to notification, and basically what this does is Xcode alerts the scene that something's we want to crack, and then it'll trigger the actions. So I'm going to set the identifier of this to quack. And then up here in the action sequence, I'm going to click the plus button, and I'm going to play sound. And I'm going to choose an audio clip, and this is going to be a quack sound. Yeah, you just heard it, and that's an audio recording of me quacking. That was like when I was 9, so it's quite old, but it's good enough. I've imported this quack sound, and you can do that by pressing the import button. And also I need to select the affected object, so where this sound is coming from. And of course, it's coming from the beak. So I'm just going to select the beak. And also, one more thing we have to do is click the plus button, scroll down, and click the notify button. And the notify button will just notify Xcode that something has happened, or in this case, that this behavior has finished. So once this behavior has finished, then what we're going to do is we're going to set allows quacking to true. Because when we quack, the allows quacking variable will be false. And so that means that the duck can't quack, because if we open our mouth for longer than a frame, which is pretty much certain because no one can open and close their mouth in one frame, or else you have superpowers. Basically, we don't want the duck to keep quacking every single frame, and so that's why we're setting allows quacking to false. So it's like a safeguard, so the duck doesn't keep quacking and the speakers won't break. And also, I'm going to add some other variables called beak top, which is an entity. So the type entity is pretty much just pretty much means an object. So this is an entity, this is an entity, everything is an entity. And so I'm also going to create another variable called beak bottom, and that's going to be another entity. And so we're creating these variables because we want the duck's beak to open and close. And that's all the variables we really need. So I'm going to add some other variables like beak top, and that's going to equal duck anchor dot dot find entity, and that's going to be, if I open up the properties tab, you can see that this is named beak top and this is named beak bottom. So this is going to be beak top, and I'm going to force unwrap this because we know it's right there and it's not going to disappear. And there's also beak bottom. Oh, actually, why am I doing var? I need to set the variables, and that's going to be duck anchor dot find entity named beak bottom, and that's going to be also an exclamation mark. And one more thing that we have to do is we have to handle a case where the quack is finished. So we're just going to do duck anchor dot actions dot dot notifications dot dot actions dot did I set no, I didn't set the identifier for notify action, so that's finished quacking. And all right, so if I redo, I need to save. And if I just duck anchor dot notifications, actions dot finish quacking. If I just reload controller, maybe it might work. Yeah, there we go. Finish quacking dot on action equals, and this is going to be a closure. So, and the closure will contain one property, and that's a specified entity. So in here, there's affected objects, and I don't want this to affect that. So I don't want any affected objects because I don't want to pass any objects into Xcode. Because if I do, well, I can, but it's not really needed because all we have to do is just set allows quacking to false. All right, that's all we have to do, and now I'm just going to do session did update frame. So now what we're going to do is the quacking. So what I'm going to do first is create a variable called face anchor, and that's going to be of type AR face anchor. And I'm going to make this an optional in case we don't find any just in case we don't find any face anchors or any faces. And what we're going to do now is we're going to loop through all the frames, or loop through all the anchors. So I'm just going to do for a in frame.anchors. So frame.anchors just gets all the anchors that it has found, and then after that, I'm just going to do if let anchor equals a as an AR face anchor. And so I'm just checking if the anchor is a face anchor. And once that's done, then I just do face anchor equals anchor. And now I'm going to do a guardlet to make sure that we found it a face anchor, but also get the value of if the mouth is open or half open or whatever. And I'm going to do guardlet jaw value. And this will make sense in a moment. So if I do face anchor dot blend shapes. So blend shapes are pretty much, blend shapes is pretty much a dictionary with over 50 items, and each of these items are different parts of your face. So let's say I select jaw open, and then it will grab a number from 0 to 1, which is actually really just means 0 is your mouth is closed and 1 is your mouth is fully open. And I'm just going to do dot float value because I want to convert this to a float, because by default this is an NS number. There we go. I'm just going to close this. And so what we're going to do now is check if the jaw value is more than or equal to 0.8, and we also allow quacking. And if that's so, then I'm going to turn allows quacking, I'm going to set allows quacking to false, and I'm also going to notify the scene that we're going to quack. And what we're going to do now is duck anchor dot actions dot, oh no, not actions, dot notifications dot quack dot post. So remember that the identifier for quacking is quack. And so what we're doing is just notifying Reality Composer that we want to quack. And one final thing before we can run this app is create a beak rotation, a constant called beak rotation. And that's going to be a rotation value for the beak. Now, the beak value is in radians, so it's going to include pi. So I actually have this notebook here, just in case I forgot the, just if I forgot what rotation I want to do. And someone said dot pi or whatever, and that's true, but I have to do something else too. And so if it's, so I'm going to do jaw value times 0.05, just so I limit the jaw value so it's not 1, and I'm going to do times dot pi, just because this is in radians. So after that, I'm going to top beak, or beak top, dot transform dot.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I don't know what Siri wanted to say, or thought I was going to say. So big top dot transform dot rotation dot, let me scroll down, there is vector dot x, and that's going to be minus beak rotation. Because, well, one has to go up, one has to go down, because both beaks can't go up and both beaks can't go down. That's just how beaks work. And after that, I'm going to do beak bottom dot transform dot rotation dot vector dot x, and that's going to be beak rotation. There we go. That's all we have to do. So I'm just, yeah? Oh, yes, the anchor point. That's a good question. The anchor point, oh, this doesn't show you the, well, basically, by default, for this beak, yeah, so it's already 0, 0, 0, and the beak anchor is somewhere around here. So it's just, so its pivot point is going to be somewhere right here. And anyways, I'm just going to run the app, and let me, there we go. Let me just, all right, so it's running. Also, I just wanted to say something really quickly. For some reason, when I close my mouth, like, sometimes the draw value becomes a minus. So I don't know why. Maybe my mouth is somehow inverted, like a split second, but I have no idea. So anyways, so you can see that the beak is rotating. And then if I open my mouth, quack. I quack. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. So let me just get up, and you can see me and the audience. Just going to take a quick selfie. And there we go. But it's not perfect. So if my mouth is still open, then it'll just keep quacking. So wait. Is the sound working? Hmm? Oh, yes. Oh, right. Right. Yeah, so I have to change this to true. No wonder. Thanks for picking it up. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so I'm not a professional, so. Yeah, anyways. So it's kind of like an alarm when you keep quacking, but anyways, yeah, that could be fixed. I have enough time. I'm just going to stop running, and I am going to